stood at the edge of the old wooden dock, the early morning mist curling around his feet like a hesitant welcome. Henry's hands trembled slightly as he gripped his fishing rod. His heart thudded loudly, an uneven rhythm that matched the nervous flutter inside his chest. It had been years, too many years, since he'd been here, since he'd cast a line into these quiet waters. And now, standing in the crisp dawn air, he felt an unexpected wave of nerves crash over him. Why had he come back? The lake stretched before him, glassy and calm, reflecting the pale sky. It looked peaceful, almost inviting, but Henry knew better. Beneath that placid surface lurked memories he had tried hard to bury, memories that clawed at his mind like restless fish beneath the waves. His fingers tightened on the rod handle, knuckles whitening. The smell of damp earth and pine filled his nostrils, stirring long-forgotten sensations. He swallowed hard, feeling the lump rise in his throat. The dock creaked beneath his weight, groaning with every step he took forward. It was as if the very wood remembered the laughter and joy that had once filled this place. Now, it held only silence. He glanced down at the water and shivered, though the morning wasn't cold. A sudden, flickering shadow darted beneath the surface, and for a brief moment, fear gripped him. His breath hitched. The years of avoidance, the quiet evenings spent at home, the aching absence, suddenly felt suffocating. But beneath that fear, a spark kindled. Maybe it's time, Henry whispered to himself. He moved his gaze from the water and looked around. The shoreline was still dotted with familiar trees, their branches swaying gently in the wind. Birds called to one another in the distance, filling the silence with life. For a fleeting moment, he felt happy. Not the easy, careless happiness of youth, but something softer, a gentle hope that maybe, just maybe, he could find a little joy here again. Henry took a deep breath and lifted the rod, feeling its familiar weight. The real smooth click brought a small, excited smile to his lips, surprising him. It had been so long, but the rhythm of fishing, the casting, the waiting, felt like an old friend returning. He cast the line out, wishing the lure skip once, twice, then settle on the water's surface. A quiet tension wrapped around him as he waited, muscles taut like the fishing line itself. His eyes scanned the shimmering ripples, searching for a sign, a splash, a tug, anything. Minutes passed, stretching thin like the light breaking through the morning mist. Henry's mind wandered back to the past, to his son's laughter echoing across the lake, to warm summer days when the world felt wide open and full of promise. A sudden breeze carried the faint scent of wildflowers, and with it came a bittersweet smile. Then, a tug. His heart leapt, adrenaline flooding his veins. He grabbed the rod with both hands, excitement and fear battling within him. The reel spun, and he pulled back hard, muscles straining against the resistance. For a moment, the line danced with a powerful force, a wild energy that made Henry laugh aloud, breathless and alive. The sound startled the nearby birds into flight. He felt young again, alive again. But as quickly as it came, the line went slack. The fish had broken free. Henry's smile faltered, and he sighed, half disappointed, half relieved. He looked out across the lake, where the ripples slowly faded into stillness. The old man wiped sweat from his brow and settled into the rhythm once more. He cast again, steady, patient, hopeful. He knew this was just the beginning, not just of fishing again, but of healing. Something deep inside told him this lake still held stories waiting to be told, laughter waiting to be shared, and a joy he thought was lost forever. He was ready to find it. The sun climbed higher, casting golden shafts through the morning mist. Henry felt the warmth seep into his bones, and with it, a growing sense of calm. The nervous knot inside him slowly loosened, replaced by a quiet excitement. Each cast was a small victory, a step toward reclaiming something lost. He noticed how the lake seemed to breathe with life. Dragonflies darted above the water's surface, their iridescent wings catching the light. A family of ducks paddled lazily near the reeds, quacking softly as if encouraging him. The old man chuckled, the sound rough but genuine, the first laughter he'd shared with the lake in a long time. As the hours passed, Henry's movements grew smoother, more confident. His hands, once shaky, now gripped the rod firmly, eyes sharp and focused. He was learning to listen again, to the water, to the wind, to the gentle tug on his line that meant a fish was near. Suddenly, the rod bent sharply. His heart surged with a mixture of fear and thrill. "This one's big," he muttered, gripping tighter, muscles coiling like springs ready to release. The fight was fierce. The fish pulled hard, darting beneath the surface with furious energy. Henry's breath came in quick gasps as he battled the unseen opponent. The line hummed, singing a tense song of man versus nature. For a moment, his mind flashed to memories of his son, how they'd wrestled with fish far bigger than this, shouting and laughing, faces flushed with joy. The memory fueled his determination. With a final, steady pull, Henry reeled the fish closer. It broke, the surface, a gleaming flash of silver scales, thrashing and wild. The old man's face lit up with happiness, a pure, unguarded smile. "Got you," he whispered, feeling a rush of triumph and connection. He gently lifted the fish from the water, its wet body slipping slightly in his hands. For a moment, he simply stared at it, marveling at the life thrumming beneath his fingers. Then, with a careful nod, he released it back into the lake, watching it disappear beneath the shimmering surface. His chest swelled with pride. This wasn't just fishing. It was healing. It was hope. Suddenly the peace shattered. A sharp crack echoed through the trees, a branch snapping underfoot. Henry froze, heart hammering. The breeze shifted, carrying an unfamiliar scent. Something wild, something close. He wasn't alone. Fear rippled through him. Memories surged unbidden. The long nights spent staring at empty beds. The silence that followed tragedy. The loneliness that had driven him away from this lake for so long. Slowly, cautiously, Henry turned toward the edge of the forest. A figure emerged from the shadows, a young boy no older than 10, clutching a small fishing rod, his eyes wide with curiosity and something else. Hope, maybe. Henry's tension melted into surprise, then warmth. The boy smiled shyly, stepping closer. "Fishing?" Henry asked, voice rough but inviting. The boy nodded excitedly. "My dad used to bring me here. I wanted to come back. For the first time in years, Henry felt a flicker of something he hadn't dared hope for. Companionship. He smiled, the nerves melting away, replaced by a bright spark of joy. Then, let's fish together, he said. And just like that, the old man found that the lake had room for two, and that joy, once lost, was beginning to bloom again. The boy and Henry sat side by side on the dock, lines cast deep into the shimmering water. The morning sun warmed their backs, and the lake hummed softly with life. Henry glanced over at the boy, whose eyes sparkled with eager anticipation. It was contagious. Henry felt excited, alive in a way he hadn't in years. They talked quietly, about fish, about the weather, about the stories each ripple seemed to tell. Henry found himself laughing softly at the boy's jokes, the sound feeling strange and wonderful after so long. The nervousness that had gripped him earlier had completely vanished, replaced by a deep, soothing happiness. When the boy caught his first fish, he whooped with excitement, jumping up and down. Henry clapped his hands, laughing heartily alongside him. The joy was real, pure. He realized this wasn't just fishing. It was friendship, healing, and the chance to start over. As the afternoon light softened, Henry cast his line one last time and felt a gentle tug. He reeled it in slowly, savoring the moment when a small, shining fish broke the surface. He smiled and whispered, "Thank you." The lake, once a place of sorrow and fear, had become a wellspring of joy and hope. Henry looked out across the water and breathed in deeply. Here, in this simple act of fishing, he had found his way back to life. And this time, he knew he would never let go.